you adjust the camera focus? I've just push it a bit forward, yes.
Go live.
Yes, it's better.
Okay. Am I hearing? Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to take them off now. You take the two off. So in 3, 2.
Is it they're muting? Okay.
You're live.
One more time, I wish to appreciate live, wherever you are, to this broadcast. And specifically today, we are topic handling or managing family crisis. And we are, and our first guest that we want to bring on the week, his name is Pastor Basil Osuji. He is the senior pastor of Solid Rock Fort Square in Brentwood, United States, Maryland to be precise. Pastor Basil, you are welcome. We appreciate your presence. Okay, unmute yourself.
Thank you, Bishop.
Pastor Basil.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for another opportunity.
We're so glad
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you. And another person we need to bring on, it's our deaconess. She's a deaconess, part of our ministry, and she's been involved in a lot of marital issues. Our deaconess, Margaret Obona, it's a professional, a specialist in port management. She's currently the deputy director one of the time agencies of the Federal Ministry of Transport. And also she's a deaconess, a marriage counselor in Ward-Based Assembly. She's happily married, and by the grace of God, she has 4 children, and we consider her to be one of those that have a stable family. Deaconess Margaret Obona, we welcome you.
Thank you, my bishop. I appreciate this opportunity to be on this platform.
Okay. Now, I will start by saying that when you are not speaking, you can unmute yourself. And when you want to speak, you come on. But me being the moderator, I'm unmuted all the time. And you can unmute from your own end, or we can unmute you from the console here. Deji, we can unmute them from the console here. Okay. All right. Today we have to understand that 3 major areas of developing any human being. The first unit is the family. The second unit is the school. The third unit is religious institutions. When somebody misses it within these 3 places, especially the family, the person may have a haphazard life and haphazard lifestyle. And today we have come to understand that the devil is attacking the family like never before. And that's why we chose this topic. A lot of children left their family and they don't want to hear anything about their family. They are angry, they have issues, and they are not willing to settle. Some parents walked away from their wife and abandoned children. Some women left. And when you trace it, it all boils down to family crisis. So, starting from Deaconess Margaret, how do family crises start? What are the signs?
Thank you very much, Bishop. A family, I'll first of all explain what a family system is. because it's important for us to understand what the family system is. Over time, the family management have been overlooked. A family is a group of people who share a common inheritance. The inheritance that comes from their ancestors. Yes, they share a common inheritance. The inheritance can be the name they bear together. It can be by age, it can be by birth. But just like a church, we have a common inheritance, which is the Christ. So a family, they have a common inheritance. And that is why the family is very critical in anything you have to do, because it's the fulcrum for which society, any organization, or any group of people can stand together. And one of the reasons why families have conflict is, the major reason is absence of communication in the family. Every family must have a way they communicate together. It's an institution. The Bible refers to a family institution which starts from a man and a woman. And that whole family grows from the nuclear to the extended clan level. So it keeps growing because God gives the increase in the family. So, and God himself, when he created the church, also gave rules and regulation to the church. And what all family values. That day in our ministry, Bishop, if you recall, we had a special program deepening family values, because it is very, very critical that every family should know there must be values. And that is why the Bible says that sons should obey the instructions of their father and obey the laws of their mother. So anytime that guiding rules, guiding principles, bringing them together to share in that inheritance, just as Christ have done in the Bible, then there is bound to be conflict in such a home. So that is the major one.
Okay, Pastor Basil, what's your take on that? She has been able to describe for us what a family is. People that share common inheritance. It could be name, it could be land, it could be something, it could be ancestors, assets. That's family. A friend of mine described family in a very funny way. He said, a family is a place where one man makes money and others enjoy it as a right.
Yes.
Because when you walk into your family and you find that food is ready, you just go and take your portion. You don't ask who brought the money. So, and to some, when they say this is family, what it means is we bond one another. No matter what goes wrong, we stick together. So what's your take? What's your idea of a family? Pastor Basil?
Thank you very much, Bishop. I agree with what both of you have said so far regarding family, but I'm going to pick up from where you just stopped. You know, family consists of parents, children, and again, it depends on the purview you are looking at it, or the aspect you are looking at it. Family has identities. Family has their DNA, what they are known for. And that DNA, or what it is known for, has to be preserved. And like you rightly said, families will have different aspects to which they operate. Now, you cannot abandon your family. And there is every tendency that as individuals, we have our individual tendencies. So let me put it that way. We have our individual tendencies as families. We're different, even though we're members of one family, but we are different. We think differently, we see things differently, we perceive differently, our understandings may be different. And so, but we have a common ground, something that unites us. So there is a need for us to understand each other and see. We may see from different lenses, but it's important for us to understand who we are. Number one, understanding that in a family, there is bound to be disagreements, different views and opinions, conflicts. The presence of conflict does not dissolve the family unit. So as families, we must have to understand that we are different individuals. And as different individuals, we think differently.
Okay, that may lead us to reasons why there are conflict and crisis in family. Number one, we must understand that even though we are one unit, we have different idiosyncrasies, correct? We also have to understand that our temperaments are different. Our views per issue not be the same. And when there are disagreements, no disagreement has the ability to separate us. But Deaconess Meg, what are the reasons for family conflicts, starting from marriage? Are you hearing me, Ma? I don't think she's hearing me well. Deaconess Meg, are you hearing me? Okay. Okay.
I can hear. The reason.
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear.
Yes.
Yeah, the reasons.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. The reasons for family conflict, especially in marriage, I would say is a lack of understanding. One is money.
Okay. One of them is money.
In marriages where there is absence of that understanding of why the couples
transparency
are one. It's money in most marital homes, as it were today, the economy is united. What I mean is that where a man and a woman do not have a defined role, biblically, they attempt to be rivals instead of complementing one another, knowing that two of them are one. Most homes, especially in marriages, what is causing the problem in marriages today is
money,
lack of communication and financial issues. The economy is hitting so many homes, and not going by the principles of the screening of who does what and how one should work. And it is all about absence of proper communication, because communication is key in any relationship. Communication between the husband and wife, and communication between the parents and the children in that home, and communication between siblings. Once there is absence of communication in the family, there is bound to be
Conflict.
And that among the man and between the man and the woman, we can look at the issue of the financing of the home. When the economy of the home is not going as expected, it takes maturity and it takes understanding. Know that it is just something that is seasonal, that will pass away. But for many homes, they break the band before they understand what is happening to them.
Okay, money, an issue. Yes, money is a factor. Then inability to communicate properly. Now, Pastor Basil, there is no doubt that money is a factor, and
we can also talk of not having a vision for the family. If there is a family vision,
that can even guide how the money is spent.
Every family should have
yeah. Okay, Pastor Basi, take it from there. Money is an issue, but I've also found out that in most families, taking from the biblical example of the family of Isaac and Jacob and the mother, there was a case of favoritism.
It's another.
Once there is issue of favoritism, and in some families, it's so obvious that they believe that one member of the family is the one that will succeed, then the rest will not succeed. So they start treating that one very specially. At the end of the day, others become offended and become enemies in the same family. How do you talk about the issue of favoritism, rejection, even in its own family?
Thank you very much, Bishop. That is an error as from parents particularly. And I have treated this, I have preached it, I have taught it, I have communicated it. If God is giving you children, they're all your children. They may have different talents and gifts, but they are your children. It is going to be an error on your part as a parent or as parents to see them or treat them, not necessarily see them, but treat them differently. When you begin to show favoritism, then you are creating an enormous problem to yourself, because this will be evident. Now, whether we like it or not, look at what happened to Joseph. Now, what was the problem between Joseph and his brothers? Because his dad, Jacob, made him a coat of many colors and made it very clear that he was special. What do you think would happen to others? We're human beings with emotions and feelings and understanding. When you begin to prefer one to another, which the Bible says that we shouldn't prefer, or rather we should prefer others to ourselves, we should treat people equally. then there will be room for jealousy. And where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, James 3:16, there will be disorder and crisis will arise.
Okay.
So parents will be wise to see their children and love them equally. And what I'm telling you is what I do. Now, do I not know that my children have different talents and different gifts? I do. I see that, I identify that. But what I try to do is to extol the gift of each of them. Now, are they all going to be preachers like me? Maybe not. Are they all going to sing? Maybe not. But each of us is given different gifts and talent, and those talents are very important. So as parents, it's our responsibility to appreciate those gifts in our children and be able to encourage them and not create that unnecessary rivalry amongst them, which we ignore for the most part by treating them differently. So I would say for parents to be careful, even in naming your kids. When you name your kids, you also have to be very careful. Sometimes you name your kid after you, one of them after you. I don't know what that means. This is both Western and even from African context, Humphrey Jr. What about the others? What are they?
Yes.
So we got to be careful, really, because if we are not, we create unnecessary rivalry, envy, and jealousy amongst them, which again will lead to a lot of crisis.
Okay, Deaconess Margaret, a situation whereby in a family, there are some people they call the black sheep of the family. You are supposed to treat them equally, you invest in them equally, but there are particular ones, no matter your investment, no matter what you do to get them behave well, do things well, they are the one that will drag the family to police, to this. How do you manage such? I think her network is delaying. Hello, Margaret? Did you hear me? Okay. Basil, go ahead. How do we manage black sheep of families? We are talking of managing family conflict. There are people you spend so much for them to go to school. They don't want to go to school. They prefer to smoke weed. They bring bad name to the family. They do whatever that is opposed to the family values, not because they have not been taught, but because they are simply rebellious.
Yes. Well, don't give up on them. That's what I'm going to say. The Bible clearly tells us about the prodigal son. What did the father of the prodigal son do? Give up on him? No. Now you need to continue to do your best. Pray for them, and they are still your children. We started by saying that no matter what happens, family is family. And we know that. And there is no point in your life as a parent when you expunge your son. Of course, people do it, but I don't subscribe to it. Now,
no, but even when they do it, it's only it's only a statement.
Right.
If you tell somebody they are no more my child, does it apply?
I have a friend, whose son is misbehaving, and he said, I have forgotten about him. I don't want to talk about him. He can go to jail. He can do whatever he wants. And guess what? About 2-3 weeks after, he called me and asked me to pray alongside with him and to support him, because he's been fasting for this boy and he's having high blood pressure as a result of the attitude and antecedents of this boy. So question is, it is innate in us. It's quite inherent. There is no way we can avoid that passion that we have for our kids.
I'm not okay. Is she hearing us? Okay, Deaconess Margaret, did you hear me? I want you to come in on that if you are still with us. Okay, I think her network is not helpful. Really, there are troublesome people in families who don't want to respect or obey even the ethics of the code of the family. But ultimately, they are the ones that suffer it most. Because in family, it is when it's well with you first, then you remember others. So a situation whereby somebody decides to be wayward, at the end of the day, the person must know that the person suffers it most. When people are young, they stay together in a family, the parents provide for all. But after some time, some years to come, you are now the one to provide for yourself. So family will only be a support, but not a mainstay. So it's important that as people listening to this, they know that whatever values you get from your family benefits you first before any other person. In marriages today, we've established that lack of communication is part of the problem in families. Money is part of the problem in families. I wish Meg can hear us. Are you hearing us? Okay. Maybe her internet is down and out. There are families where there is so much violence. Husband and wife fighting one another, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. I'm a pastor. Sometimes I've seen such cases. Violence in family. Today we hear about husbands, wives, even going to the extent of stabbing and killing themselves. Some go to the extent of shooting their wife, children, and eventually killing themselves. What could happen in a family that will make somebody go to such extreme? Pastor Basil.
Yes, thank you very much. You know, the problem is...
We hear that a lot out there in America.
It is. And this is one of the things that I personally recommend. Okay, don't allow the problem to escalate. Deal with it at its infancy, when it's brewing up. How do we deal with issues like that? Remember that these things don't happen overnight. They started from somewhere. And so one of the things I recommend is say sorry. When you discover, say sorry. And sorry, I have timed sorry. It takes less than 3 seconds for you to apologize. That's number one. Number two, listen to your spouse. Listen to them. Don't ignore the concerns of your mate or your spouse. Sometimes we hear people, we don't listen to them. When somebody complains of something over and over, pay attention to that grievance or that complaint, because there is a fundamental problem or issue that is underlining. If I tell you I'm hurting, pay attention to me. Don't ask me why I should be hurting. If I'm hurting, I am hurting. So pay attention to me. Know why I am hurting, and then we can solve the problem. We will deal with it. But if you ignore my concern, then you are giving room for a larger problem, because it will accumulate. And you know that unresolved conflicts don't go away. They recycle. They recycle and come back. So you must have to deal with it from its infancy before it escalates and gets to the point where it becomes unmanageable to a point. Bishop, nobody actually marries to divorce. Let's note that. Nobody marries to kill each other. At the wedding day, you see how lovely everything is and people kiss each other. I don't believe that they entered into a relationship, or couples enter into a relationship to kill each other, but there is something that actually escalates that and gives rise to that, to that point. We must have to deal with the root of it.
Okay. Ngozika Igwe Wankwo from Dallas, Texas, just made a comment. She said that undiagnosed and untreated mental illness could be an issue, because there are a lot of wackos out there, even in families, that no matter what you do, they will do the other way around. Is it a factor that so many people have a lot of mental issues? A situation whereby somebody will tie up the wife, tie the children, or take knife, stab them without milk of human sympathy, even though they are his own children. Is it not a psychotherapy case that should be treated psychotherapically?
Yes, but we're looking at two different family units.
A normal situation, under a normal circumstance.
We're looking at two different family units. One is the Christian family, and the other one is the secular family. And you know what I mean by secular family.
We're using all together.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to attempt the two. Number one, the word of God is our guiding principle. When one is in Christ, is a new creature. All things have passed away, all things become new. There is a regeneration in the heart of every believer that makes him or her to see things not from selfish angle, but from the angle of passion and love. Now, none of us is perfect. We have our idiosyncrasies, we have our flaws, we have our weaknesses. So for a Christian, the roadmap or guiding principle is the word of God. And there is no way we can circumvent the word of God. The word of God is our best counselor. The Holy Spirit is our best counselor. And so we should be able to, and he's with us, he guides us if we listen to him. Okay, now let's look at the secular marriage. Why do we have courtship? Why do people have courtship? What is the essence of courtship? Courtship is a period where you study each other, learn from each other, know each other well enough. Where marriage is a school that both of you enter in one day and you don't graduate. You keep learning. There is no graduation in it. You think you know somebody, you don't really know the person. You make every effort to know the person on a daily basis. So what happens? Before you get married, spend some time to study, to talk, have conversation, communication. What are the do's and don'ts? What are the extremes and limits? What is it that you don't like? The things, and we have to be open about it. We have to be transparent about it. Don't sweep anything under the carpet. Okay? Ask questions. Who are you? What do you like? What don't you like? What is your family background? That is the essence of courtship. And in the process of courtship, you will be able to, number one, discover some things about the person Number two, address those issues
Yes,
together.
values.
Values, and be able to say, these are the things we don't like. These are no-go areas. And in the process of that, two of you will be able to say, okay, maybe this can work, or maybe this is the time for us to part ways. Because if you ignore such values and concerns, eventually it is going to come back to hurt you. Okay, so now I understand that there are people who have mental issues, and it's very common in the West, particularly in America. You hear about mental problems and mental issues and all that. Yes, those things exist, but there is nothing that God cannot handle. And that's why we have counselors, both Christian counselors and secular counselors. Do your best to go to counseling and go through counseling. It's very important. The Bible says, in the multitude of counsel, there is what? Safety. Listen to other people's views. Because if you see something from your own view only, you will have limited knowledge. But when you listen to others, your knowledge will be broadened. Focus on common interest rather than common grievances. Look at what should work for both of you as couples rather than looking at only yourself. Okay? And focus on people's strengths rather than their weaknesses, because we all are on the same boat. We all make mistakes. In fact, there is a saying that goes that there is madness in everybody. Everyone seems to have the tendency of madness in him, but the Spirit of God guides and helps us to be under control, which is what we call self-control.
Okay. Okay, actually, we're trying to get Meg in. I don't know if her network has been difficult. But at whatever point she comes in, she will join us. So we just go ahead. Yeah. Okay, Pastor Basil, you've said a lot. In families, how do we handle persistent issues? Issues that are very persistent. Some husbands have some issues that the woman has persistently talked about, fought about, done everything about. It's not changing. Some men have persistent issues. I don't know there are issues in families, but when a matter becomes so persistent, how do one go about so? And that's why somebody may be saying, is this now normal or mental? And you know, here in Africa, people will now graduate to the point of going spiritual, saying it's from the village, or somebody did something or whatever, or they start tracing that this is not normal, it's spiritual, your grandfather, your grandmother. And at that point, people no more take responsibility for change. They now want to attribute their behavior to the cause of their father and the rest of it. I know you're a pastor, you're out there in the Western world where some of these superstitions don't hold water. But here in Africa is one of the challenges. There are people who are given to drunkenness. There are people who are given to adultery. There are people who are given to temper. And no matter what you do, they are not changing. And instead of taking responsibility, they move on to say it's demonic. What's your advice?
Thank you, Bishop. And I said it earlier. There is no problem that is unsolvable. Pay attention to your husband or wife's concern. Let's take some practical examples. If your husband is it's one of those that will sit in the sitting room and watch television till 12 midnight, and you say to him, honey, come to the bedroom, and he continues to stay on the television and doesn't want to change. It's easy. It's simple. There is no demon that is holding him. He is just being selfish. For the most part, some of our problems stem from selfishness. We are not considering other people's concerns. We are inconsiderate. If I tell you that this thing is hurting me, pay attention to it. That's number one. Number two, communicate. If somebody is doing something, there may be a root cause or a problem why the person is doing it. Find out. Ask your wife, ask your husband, why are you doing this? How come you can't stop this? Men are very proud, as you know. We bottle things. We don't want to speak. But if you corner us and ask us serious questions, we may be open and transparent to tell you why we're doing what we're doing. And sometimes you discover that it's a cover-up. What they are doing is it's just to cover the fundamental problem that is underlying. So when we ask questions, your wife or your husband will be able to tell you why he or she is doing it. Actually, it could be your fault. Maybe you are not doing something addressing issues of her concern. And so in order to band-aid it, the person resorts into drinking. You know, when people drink to stupor, they try to drink away their sorrows. They try to drink away their pain. Most people. There is a reason why they are drinking. They don't want to tell you, either because they've told you once, twice, 3 times, you're not paying attention. They are quiet about it. They don't want to talk about it. They just do what they want to do. So communication is key. It's important. It's germane to solving such problems. Corner your husband, corner your wife, and ask honest questions to say, why are you doing this? Sometimes they will be afraid to tell you because they may think that when they tell you, you become judgmental. You cast aspersion on them. You look at them as weak. They will be embarrassed to tell you. But if you assure them that, hey, honey, we're in this together, okay? I don't want, if you sink, I'm sinking too. I don't want us to sink. Tell me, what is the problem? Why are you drinking? Why are you womanizing? And, well, tendency is you may get the answer. And then when you get the answer, what do you do with it? Do you turn around to condemn and judge the person, or do you try to help the person?
Okay. This is important. Another question is, there are so many families that their reason for conflict is because that the woman makes more money than the man. Some people, in some cases, the man cannot manage that. And I think it stems from the fact that both of them may not have understood the concept of marriage. Jesus told the church in your weakness. Strong. In other words, we draw from his strength in our weakness. And in marriage, at any point, whoever earns more, it is for the family. Like I said, it's a place where one person makes money, others enjoy it as their right. I know a man, his friends were always talking to him, telling him, you are here, your wife is getting this, making this money, buying this car, doing this, doing this, doing this. What will you do about it? The man says, I'm not doing anything about it. If my wife buys a Rolls Royce, I will drive it. It's my own. Mm-hmm. That simple understanding helped him, because his friends were telling him that to instigate jealousy and quarrel. This may be an opportunity for us to talk about that. It could be vice versa. It could be man, it could be woman. Some women are even thinking that because they are more educated, have better exposure, that they should make more money than their husbands. And if they see that their husband is making more money, it becomes a point of conflict. Mm-hmm. So what's your take on this? Bearing in mind, a lot of people are listening to us from all over the world. I've seen Marvin tuning in from New York. I've seen Zach Abu from Nigeria, and some other people from several parts of the world. So what do you say?
Well, again, it's baffling and mind-boggling.
But you know it's there.
It is there. But it's surprising that we should envy one another, especially in a family. We defined what family is at the beginning. Okay? So if we understand that we are one, why should we be jealous or envious about what another person has? What you have is mine. What I have is yours. So there's no two ways about it. Now, it boils down to foundation. What is the foundation of the family? When you started, what did you agree upon? You can't just go with the flow. You must sit down to discuss. Before we started having children, I had a conversation with my wife to say, these are the number of children we're going to have. We discussed it even before we started. Now, did we know whether we were going to have kids or not? We didn't know, but we have to discuss it. Now, what do I mean by that, and why is that important? Let it not come to a point where we start having, that becomes an issue. We already know what we agreed upon, because we are one. Whatever she has is mine. What I have is hers. I have my own car. She has her own car. She drives my car. I drive hers. There is no difference, but I know this is my car. And people know this is Pastor's car and this is Pastor Abigail's car or van. People know that. All right? My kids have their vehicles. We know that. But we are a family. We share things in common. Therefore, when you earn more, it goes into the family. If you don't have proper communication and definition on how things will work in your family, that's where the problem is. It's not go with the flow. For instance, you earn this amount. Good. What are you going to do? What's our plan? What's our family plan? How is the mortgage being paid or going to be paid? How are we going to maintain this and that? When we have those discussions, it shouldn't be a problem, because now I know my part, you know your part. Then the extra, I don't tell my wife on every dime that she spends and how she spends it. She doesn't tell me, okay? But we know that when there are major issues like car, I just go out and buy a vehicle and come back. First of all, before I buy any vehicle, I go with my wife. All right? We go out together, we go shop around from place to place. We agree that, okay, this is something that just happened December, because we got another vehicle in December. We went from place to place, and some I liked, and when she got there, she said, no, Daddy, no, let's not buy this. And I respected her opinion until we got what she liked and what I wanted. You know, did I like 100% what we got? I didn't. But she was happy. As long as she was happy, I am happy. You know. So
okay, let me know. I hope Margaret is listening to us now. I hope
yes,
she's
I'm listening.
hearing.
I'm
okay,
hearing.
we are now. Okay, we moved to talk about most of the times in some families, especially when the earning levels differ. Some men are not comfortable when their wife earn more money than themselves. Or it could be vice versa. Some women, because of their level of education, academic exposure, business exposure, feel they should be the one earning more than their husband, who may not be as educated as they are. Or the other way around. Why should the earning of one person be a point of conflict in any family? Speak from a woman's perspective.
Yes, Bishop. It ought not to be, but that's what we experience these days. There should be this understanding that a man and a woman are one. And that is the understanding in marriage, that once the man and the woman comes together, that they two are one. Then the man and the woman should be able to define their roles in the family as mutual individuals, and at the same time agreeing on certain things. The reason why I say that is that the man may have his own idiosyncrasies, the woman may have her own idiosyncrasies, and coming from different backgrounds, family backgrounds before they became one, and having the same. That's why I mentioned before I went off air that there must be a vision for the family. And what I mean by vision for the family is, how do it must be defined, communicate to one another. How do we take care of the bills in the home? How do we take care of feeding? How do we take care of projects in the home? How do we take care of children's school fees? And if a woman is working and is making an income, then the woman should be, on the basis of unity, that they two are one, agree on taking some of the responsibilities, because traditionally, I would say that women don't go to work. But with civilization and awareness and the economic crunch in the countries of the world, not just Nigeria, there is need for the man and the woman to go to work, to take away stress from
to combine their resources.
Yes, on how to manage their resources and take away stress, because one person bearing the burden of the economic crunch of the family may go down. So there is need for them to have understanding. And if in events one person gets promoted above, just as in siblings, we must take away rivalry. The earlier couples see themselves as complementing one another. It doesn't matter who is earning more, be it the woman or the man. The progress of the two parties should be the celebration of the entire family. Because if you don't have it, some other person may have it. So if it comes into the family, I mean the economic wise, through the woman or through the man, the two parties should work together and ensure it should not breed conflict. And the only way it will ensure it will not breed conflict is to take time to view what role do I play. That's why I said each and every one of them will come to the table what you are able to do and explain to the other partner, I can do this, I can do this. The man can say, you know, I'm taking the projects. The projects will be so much. Can you take the feeding? Can you take the clothing of the children? There must be an understanding. But where we go ahead without agreeing, there's going to be conflict, because the woman will be expecting so much based on the traditional role of a man, that a man provides for everything, when she herself is earning as much as the man, and also equates herself to men in her office who are also taking responsibilities in their home. So it is that good understanding which is shared on the basis of love, because love is caring, love is sharing. So in the absence of love, you will not be able to share. And it's still that same love between the man and the woman that transfers to the children, and the children will see the love in the family and not see just one person carrying the whole burden of the family. So it's very, very important that a husband and a wife must sit together. Nothing should be assumed. Don't assume that the man will do it, and let the man not assume that the woman will feel comfortable with whatever. But when you talk over it and you both agree, it's easier to manage and it will not create conflict. So
exactly, and then we wish to. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. So
yes,
that is another issue we have to put into consideration, is that the children in the home, they are also watching the husband and the wife. Most families will see springing up is a replication of what they have seen in their families. And that is why we are saying the family is the fulcrum of unity in any society. Where you have the husband and wife being tolerant, it's not as if that you will not have offend each other. But then where is the place of forgiveness and the place of love? If we know the place of forgiveness and the place of love, we can have families that are working together through thick and thin. Because understanding the life itself does not spell out that every time things will be rosy. So there won't be any reason why a particular person, be it the man or the woman, will assume that a woman will continually have the money. How about the health, if there are health challenges? Or the man will continually have the resources. How about health challenges? What of other factors of life that may affect that resources? But the earlier they work together and begin to manage things together and begin to learn to give and to take, love is sharing, love is caring, love is sacrificing. Until we find the basis of love in a marriage relationship, there will always be conflict. That's my opinion on that. Yes.
Wonderful contribution. Pastor Basil, you are in the US. Every day we read about a particular profession, nurses, who come to America, make more money, and the next thing you hear, divorce. The next thing you hear is, so I've read up that, asked questions, and you find that most of it borders on money. To some, you blame the women, to some, you blame the man. I'm even asking, because men are nurses in America, if it is training your wife to become a nurse that will scatter your family, why don't you train yourself to be the nurse? Make the money, or both ways. Especially within the Nigerian community, it's becoming, the decimal is so high. It's all about job, money, and then divorce. Evidently, too, I've seen some of those nurses who make money, give to their husbands to come to Nigeria to build, and they come back here and they take chieftaincy titles and do nothing with the money. So when such a woman hears that, there'll be more conflict. I don't think it's only nursing or whatever that can give money in America, but why is it prevalent, especially within that profession?
Thank you, Bishop. It is very common with Nigerians or Africans, but not with the West. As a matter of fact, Deaconess Margaret eloquently stated these things. We have to have an understanding. There should be an agreement. We complement each other. We do not compete. We should not compete. We should complement each other. Now, most people leave the shores of Africa or Nigeria with a mindset. They have not been exposed to the Western world. They don't understand how things work over here. And so when they leave Nigeria, coming to a place like
Okay, I've entered now. Thank you.
Coming to a place like America, what then happens? It's more like they are let out of the cage.
We welcome our sister Ngozi Kanjoko, joining us from Dallas. Sister, you're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Deaconess Margaret and Pastor Basil, Bishop Erumaka. Nice to see you.
God bless you. So the country.
So when you are not talking, you mute your mic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So they come, the women, our sisters come here. And when they come here, number one, they look at how others are living. Some, not all. They begin to listen to gossips. And these gossips come from dysfunctional homes. And they take you from it.
Okay.
Now, instead of imbibing the value that they had, bringing them to America, or the value that brought them to America, they cultivate a different value. Can I just tell you this, Bishop, and the rest, that this is not an issue among the Caucasians, the white people. No, it's not an issue. It's always an issue with our people. So the reason is why. When you come to a place, it's more like, okay, now I have come to a place, a land flowing with milk and honey. And by the way, this land is not flowing with milk and honey. People work very hard to be able to make the money. And instead of sitting down to understanding the value, what to do, how to manage the resources, it becomes an issue of competition. So your question is, what do we now do with these sisters or even brothers? By the way, there is no way you can cage people. They will still go out there, listen to others, but it depends on, number one, that foundation. Number two, a Christian value. Number three, what is it that we came to do? Did we come here to look at other people, listen to their gossips, become like them, or did we come here to better our families and to maintain the value that we came with to the United States or to the Western world? So it's an issue really that we all have to call ourselves to order. And again, what Deaconess said is very important. We shouldn't look down on each other. Husbands have their place in the family. Wives have their place in the family. And that's how God has made it. Because you're earning more does not mean that you are more. You are equal and the same. It is not money that made you. It is your value that made you. A lot of people have money and they are not happy. A lot of people have money and they are divorced. It's not the issue of money. There are a lot of people who have no money and yet they are happily married. So it depends on the value and the foundation that we have and that we continue to maintain. So over time, you realize that when people have this understanding that is not the money, but it's the value that we have, it will help us because we're not just talking about ourselves. We're talking about our children. We're talking about family. We're talking about our culture. You cannot come and forget your culture. Our culture is such that women and wives honor their husbands and husbands honor their wives. You can't come to the United States of America and begin to claim unnecessary equality and forget our culture that love is reciprocal. Okay? There is nothing like feminism. There is nothing like the wife.
Benjin
Right.
freedom.
Thank you. So we cannot lose.
All right, let me. We just have Sister Ngozika join us. She may have something to say on this. We are talking about how do family conflict that arise because either the female member of the family earns more, or so one party is not comfortable because the other person is making more money. And we are drawing example like what is common in the States. That so when you are not talking, you can mute your mic. But it's time for you to talk. So that's what we're looking at. How do we manage that? It's part of family conflict, especially in the United States. What would be your advice to husbands and wives in that direction?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for inviting me. I have been listening. Somebody had written something that says that nurses do not make more money. Surprise, surprise. Nurses do not make more money. They do make more money by working overtime.
Okay.
When they are working overtime, this is a time when a woman has actually put in the 40 hours of work and has returned to work extra shift away from her husband, away from her children, away from her leisure time to make extra money. And it's quite, I'm going to speak in defense of some nurses. It's not all of them, some. I'm also a nurse. So this is a time, yeah. This is a time that she's putting on extra. And guess what? These women will work. I was interviewed by BBC a few years ago, and we talked about this. And all I did that day was to give a case scenario. And I will quickly give you a case scenario. This is a Nigerian nurse working in the nursing home. She gets to work at 6:30 to resume work at 7. She works, she gets her kids ready, do everything so that the husband, who does not work, will get them to school. The kids will finally go to school late. She will get to work around 2:30. The school will call her and say, there's nobody here to pick up your children. She will not take her lunch time because she expects that nobody will be there to pick up her children. So she will use her lunch time, run home to go pick up her kids. And she might come back late to work. Then after which she will be scolded, and all that she's doing is medication errors afterwards. So she'll pick up her kids, drop her at the babysitter because she needed to work the extra 3 to 11 shift. After she finishes that shift, she'll call home to see if the kids have been picked up. are brought home. The husband is still not home. She will go pick up the kids, bring them home, cook, feed them, put them to bed. Then the husband will come home and he wants to eat soup. And she'll start making the soup. And then she'll get some, by the time she gets some soup, sleep, the next morning she'll start again. This is where, after you've done this for 4 days, 2 years, you are very irritable. It has nothing to do with Christianity. Christian women are, because for most other women that speak up, they are not feeling that bad. The Christian women who do not speak, who we've been telling them to keep quiet, pray about it, that's when you see them blow up. And now for these women, the only thing they have going for them is their money. So when they want to punish their husbands, the first thing they do is to hold on to the money. And that's when we hear it. That's when the domestic violence starts, because the men will always beat them up. That's when we see all the problems. But initially, the women mean. And when I say this, I'm also a founder and a woman leader of almost 300 women. And I'm still active with them. I've had their cases. I have been there with them. There are a big number of them that are doing what they want because of America. But I'm talking about the Christian, quiet, well brought up ones among them. So sooner, the way they look at it is sooner or later you break down and join AAA, because when this guy refuses to help you, why is this issue not in our Caucasian families? Because the Caucasian man will help. He will clean the house. He will cook. He will take care of his kids. And some Nigerian families that where the men started helping out because of this, they have done so well. Their kids are doing so well. You don't expect a woman to go to work. I don't know if you guys understand that nothing is like slavery. They go from cleaning the floor, cleaning the individual to, and you have to do it and act as if you're good with it. I remember when I was in school at the Mass General, we were doing our clinical. These white girls, they were so good, doing everything, being happy to clean feces. I'm like, what? So the day we finished clinical, everybody passed and we were leaving. Somebody said to me, I'll never do this again. I said, I thought you were enjoying it. She said, I needed to get my grades. And this is a part that we Africans don't know. We don't know how to pretend. We don't know how to lie. We can lie about other things, but the way you feel will surely come up at the end of the day. Please, during marriage counseling, Christian marriage counseling, most likely, teach and teach. Don't do it a 3-section. When I got married, it was a 1-session thing. Teach these people, give them case scenarios to understand what's going to happen. Tell our men, if you're bringing your wife to America, you're going to help her. You're going to do her laundry. You're going to look at her face because she has nobody. She has nobody. You're going to help her. Once in a while, you're going to make tea or coffee or serve her something to eat. That's how she feels good about herself. And if you don't make her feel good about herself, her money and her wrapper or whatever becomes what she's going to hold on to. But this is me speaking as a nurse. Okay, but there are a lot of
exactly. Exactly. Of course, we are also saying that there are good ones.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that husbands should help their wives,
yes,
depending on who has more workload.
Yes.
The workload is yes. Now, there is something I need to say about marriage, especially in this regard. The Bible says there is no fear in love. There's no fear in love. Anybody you don't want to help, because helping the person will give the upper hand. You don't love that person. That's why friends can spend so much money on their friend to drink with. But if that same friend is asking to be with that same amount to complete a fee or pay, go through a contract, the same man who spends on him will not give it, because he feels if I help him, now he becomes big or whatever. So there's fear in love. There are men who cannot pay for their wife to get more education because they feel he will talk grammar when I talk grammar. There are women who will even sabotage their husband's business because they feel if he makes more money, he will go after women, other women. So the very basic thing is there is no fear if you love, you must stand with one another, and we must come to the point that whatever comes into the family is for the. Now, are there ways, system supremacy becomes a point of conflict. Attitudinal supremacy. Attitudinal people show attitude of because I bring, but the woman now feels it's your job to do it. See, in marriage or family can bring about conflict. Okay, Sister Margaret. Okay, Deaconess Margaret, are you hearing me? Supremacy. Somebody, so even if the man is willing to help, you're not on the man's slave. Okay. Sister Ngozi, in all these we are saying, where do you find the place of joint account?
Yeah.
Where is the
Pastor Basil, are you hearing me?
I'm not going to answer talking about the secular world. In the Christian forum.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I did get the question.
What's the challenge?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I said in the Christian. Do you want me to go on?
I did get the question.
We are talking about. Okay, let me take from Deaconess Margaret is, are there no ways that attitudinal supremacy becomes the source of conflict? There are cases some men are willing to support their wife cleaning, take children to school, but God suddenly the woman now feels that the man is now the slave. And so, because you are helping, you will now permanently do that. Then there comes a revolt. Also, there are women who are very supportive financially, and suddenly the man takes to gavalanting, feeling that the woman should not do everything. So, some, because they make more money, they turn the other person to a lower human being. What's your take on that?
Yes, Bishop, that's exactly what happens for conflict to arise in a home, especially in a situation where the couple are in America and both couples have to work. There is one thing Christian marriages are losing out, that marriage is all about sacrificing. There must be level of sacrifice from the man and from the woman. God gave his only begotten son. He sacrificed his only begotten son. So for love to exist in any relationship, the nation will say to you, what do you want? What would you do for the nation, and not what the nation should do for you? So as couples, what will I do to aid or support my husband, and not what the husband will do to aid and support me? In the same manner, the man should ask himself, what will I do to help and support my wife, who is also supporting me economically? So it's all about maturity, it's all about understanding. But sincerely, there must be a level of sacrifice, and there must be interest to hold the family together. Where the family does not matter, that's where either the man or the woman will begin to behave in a very irrational way. I have a sister in USA. She is a medical lab scientist. And because of the family upbringing of running a home, she made a sacrifice. She has 3 children. And since she started having these 3 children, she has maintained night duty. It is not easy for her. Why did she do that? She felt that she has to keep her home intact. And most times, the husband goes to other cities to work. And they also need her money to support the family. So on her own part, she's making a sacrifice by not doing morning duty or neither afternoon duty, because the what suits her as having growing up children is that night duty, where she will come in by 6 o'clock or latest 7 and be there to put her daughter or her son to join the school bus. And it's by this year, when the last baby would have been fit to be on her own, that she can now begin to rotate afternoon job or morning job. So she starts with her husband and reviews those 2. Then when she comes back from duty, after setting the children to go to school, she goes to sleep, and the husband takes over when he's around, because most times as an IT specialist, he works from his home. So he takes up the responsibility of manning the home while the wife sleeps. So that's why I said there must be sacrifices on the 2 people. The man must be ready to make sacrifice, and the woman must be ready to make sacrifice. Then when a man goes to US with the African mentality that a woman is supposed to be not a helpmate, as the scripture says, but a slave, then it's an aberration. Because if anything happens to the woman, the economy of the family will be affected. And if anything happens to the man, the economy of the family will still be affected. And who bears the brunt? It's neither the man nor the woman, but the children in the family. So the husband and wife must be matured enough to make sacrifices. They must make sacrifices. There is no way you can have a robust family without the 2 parties making sacrifices. If it means picking the children from school, the man should also squeeze his own time to accommodate bringing back the children from school if the wife is on night duty, to allow her to sleep. then if it means washing up the dishes, the man, and the woman should not take it for granted. The woman should have behind her mind that it's in appreciation of their love that a man is doing that. We are not white, we are black. We have our culture of respect, and our culture tallies with the Bible, where the man is the head of the family and the woman is the person that supports the man. But Bishop, let me tell you one thing I found out. You know, when the Bible says the man is the head of the family is a system. You know what happens? The woman is the head of human resources. In other words, it is the woman that manages both the people and the material resources of the home for that home to strive very well. And that was why the Bible said a foolish woman tears her home apart. He didn't say a foolish man. It's the woman that is foolish to tear the home, because if the man is the head of the family, she is like in any other system where the human resource manager is very critical to the success of that organization. The wife is the human resource manager in every home that manages both the human resources in that home and the material resources. But where the man does not allow the woman to manage these resources, there may be conflict, because he is assuming the role of the managing director at the same time doing the work of the human resource manager. So we should see a family as an entity. As an entity, it shouldn't be taken for granted because it is husband and wife. No, it should be run like any system that works. Nigeria is not working because the systems are not working. Families are not working because the systems are not working. Everybody in a home has a role. And there should be constant meetings. Just as you wake up on a Monday morning, the management of an organization is having meetings. The family should have meetings. And in such meetings, the woman should air her view, the man should air her view. The children may be hurting, they should also air their view to be able to avert conflict, because the essence of having regular meetings is to allow everybody vent their anger. Even siblings can offend the other sibling. There must be a way, which is a family forum, where reconciliation and forgiveness is driven, so that it becomes a culture in the family, which they take out to the larger society when they start running their own homes. That's my take there.
This is very, very wonderful. We've done a whole lot of justice to this topic. Scrolling on the screen, in case you want to support this broadcast, you can follow the systems. If you're in the US, you can use your Zelle and just use the email as written, on PayPal also as written. Your partnership is highly appreciated. And to all watching all over the world, I want to welcome also Mr. Mbago Allwell. He has always tried to be part of us. He is a pharmacist in Houston, Texas. And we've seen some notifications, some writing in. We have treated issues about nurses earning. Whether more or not, but they don't earn more. I know you're a pharmacist, you may be earning more. But the important thing is that our sister Ngozi can made us have more opportunity to do overtime. And the overtime tends to get them more money. Now, let me ask the general house. Do you endorse joint accounts for couples? hello, joint account where, and it is managed, human resource manager. So when there is a joint account,
the
joint
couple should manage,
account.
because a joint account means
Joint account
that
woman
the
is
two
a very
of
wonderful
the
human resource when
yes,
it is joint.
the woman,
Unmute yourself.
the woman manages the account, but the woman and the man are signatories
Okay.
to the account. And usually, as we said, everything in a family starts with a
Yeah.
discussion.
So do you
If both
encourage,
of you agree,
do you encourage joint account?
in my own family, my parents operated a joint account. But in my own family, we have a joint, what we call a joint project account. We have what we call a joint project account, where every month I put in certain amount and my husband puts in certain amount. We put that amount aside for projects. Then there is a liberty for me to spend whatever is left of the other money from my income, which is also shared on responsibilities I should take in the home and the ones he should take in the home, bearing in mind that we both have parents we must take care of. So the burden of one person doing the whole work is not resting on me, neither is it resting on him. But we discuss, for every discussion, for anything we want to do, we discuss about it. And whoever is willing to pay for such an activity will go ahead and say, okay, don't worry, I'll pick up the bill. So, and that is the way we operate. But whatever is left of my income, he does not ask me how I spend. But I have a responsibility to discuss sometimes with him. And if he feels like coming in to assist, especially if it is a project outside of the home to assist parents and all those things, he comes in. But if he feels I can handle it on my own, he just gives a nod. But he has never stopped me from spending my money the way I should. So apart from the project account, we both remit money to. So it depends on the discussion. But my own parents operated a joint account till date. My father is 86 and my mother is 84. Till date, they operate a joint account. So that was their own style and it's working for them. And there were discussions before they did that. Yeah. But I am not towing that line. I didn't tow that line.
Okay, project account. Allwell is also endorsing project account. Pastor Basil, what's your take?
Thank you very much, Bishop. Right. Before I go into that, I want to quickly add to what was said concerning the problems that we are having in America and amongst Africans in particular. I will answer that, but let me quickly go into that. I will advise that do what works for you. Okay? Don't do things because other people are doing it. Don't copy people. Emulate what is good. Don't imitate. The example is this. Some of us come from Nigeria in particular. We have our culture and we come here. We look at what goes on here and we start copying. Can I give you a practical example? In Nigeria, it is not common for a man, a husband, to open the door for his wife, meaning the car door for his wife. It's not common. That's not part of our culture. Some people do it. I don't know. But you come here and you see it works for the Caucasians, it works for the white people. That's their culture. And then our wives, when I say our wives, I don't do that for my wife because she's not expecting that. It's not part of our agreement. But you see some wives who because they have seen that done by Caucasians or other people, and they turn around, you see, he's opening the car door for his wife. You are not doing it for me. That can be an issue. Know who you are and be who you are. You are not another person. So I just want to throw light to that.
Or that you didn't bring flour.
Right. Well, exactly. But I buy flowers for my wife. You see, I know what my wife likes. She likes flowers and she likes cards. So I make sure I buy flowers for her. I make sure I buy cards for her. But I know some people who say, you buy flower, how long is it going to stay? 5 days is dead. $50 gone down the drain. So, well, but if that makes her happy, that's fine. But the issue of this, you're not doing this, we're trying to be who we are not, looking at other people, trying to copy them, that can bring some problems and cause issues. Now, let me go to the joint account. It depends on families, okay? Whatever works for you, do. And the need for joint account, God forbid something happens to the other person, you will have access to that account. Okay, that's one of the advantages. Now you have joint accounts based on agreement, based on how much comes in, how much you agree to pool as a pool in that particular account in order to either finance projects and stuff like that. But then you still have the liberty to be able to have your independent account. So do what works for you. Just don't do things because others are doing them. My mom would say, stop looking at other people because you are not other people. What works for you may not work for other people. What works for other people may not work for you. Now I hear my sister Margaret say that women manage the house, and I agree. Women manage the house, but here's what we have to understand. There are some men that are more frugal than the women. There are other women that are more frugal than the men. We have to strike a balance. There are women that are very extremely generous. They give and give and give away, okay? They can't manage the resources as much as the man. It's not a weakness on their part. So you have to understand your makeup. And so if you just dump it on the woman to say, well, you are the manager of the house, before you know it, there is nothing in the house because it's all given away. And these are vis-a-vis. So know what works for you and don't just try to be someone else. Thank you.
All right. As Mr. Joko.
Yes.
Can that?
Yes. One thing I want to mention before I get into the account business is these days women do not have a lot of time to bond with their husbands. There are so much interruptions. If you truly bond, and if both of you are Christians, I'm not talking about church-going Christians who believe in God, and your marriage is stemmed from the Word of God, you have the ammunition to fight some of these things. I truly believe in every word that came out of Deaconess Margaret Obona. And that is, if all things being equal, the accounts that we're talking about here, joint accounts where the man's income does not go into it. It doesn't matter still. There's no problem. However, the problem is this person who is not making any money is going to Nigeria twice a year to live his life, does not care how the children are being managed. And this is the reason for the conflict. Yes, I truly, because if you marry out of love, you truly will need to support some level of joint account, because you don't want to be at work and your husband is stranded somewhere on the street. You want to make available funds So I do believe in joint account. I also believe in operational joint account and savings account. And the fact that we talk about everything that happens, because think about this, you work and work. The home actually is built, the home of the husband, which is your home, which is now your home, and you're doing all that because of your children and the love of your life, and that's your new home. However, in-laws, both your own parents and his own parents and everybody is calling on the man for money, and he's dishing out money.
Okay.
And how many people know that his income does not go into an account that he's giving the money from? Remember,
all the money doesn't come from.
Remember, this woman has to work round the clock. These women work 7 days a week. And what time do you now have to sit on the couch, watch TV with your husband? I mean, everything is boom, 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 boom. So after a while, it gets to them. When I was talking about mental health initially, I wasn't talking about the mad people on the street. I was talking about anxiety, depression, panic, those kind of things. The woman goes to work. He's not been with her husband for the past 1 month. She doesn't know who come. She begins to think somebody comes to her home when she's not there. She's going on night duty. Thank you, Deaconess Margaret. Your sister goes to night duty. She's safe. These men, after they drink, if you go on night duty, it means that you're going to be with another person. I know a man that looks at the hours the wife left and check it out. I went to discuss with them on the day they were having an issue. When the woman leaves to go to work, she marks it. When she comes back, she marks it, and she wants the money. He wants it bad. You need to produce it. The woman said, I went to do my hair. It's a problem.
Bishop, I know Deaconess Margaret has something to say, but can I just say something here, please, if that's okay?
Okay.
Number one question is, why would a man sit around at home and not work? It's not biblical. A man should work. If you don't work, you are worse than an infidel. That's what the Bible says. I don't believe a man should babysit the children. It's not the responsibility of a man to babysit the children. Yes, you can, okay, because of the dynamics of where we live, you can help out. But if that becomes your full-time job, that's wrong. Number one, you lose your place as a man of the house and as a husband. That's number one. Number two, a man who goes to Nigeria or goes home twice a year and you are not working, it doesn't make sense. You are an irresponsible man. It doesn't make sense. Number three, I hear this over and over during this discussion that people work their hearts out. Why should we do that? We need time for ourselves. We need to rest.
Take the much you can do and reserve the rest for your family.
Why do we have to walk around the clock, work 7 days? The people we came to their land, the Caucasians, they don't work like that. They take vacation. You, Ngozi and Margaret, some of you, you know that. They have their vacation period, and you can't play with it. How many times do we go on vacation? We walk around that should stop. And I keep saying, I'm a pastor, I keep saying to my congregation and to the people, when are you going to have time for yourself? Let me tell you, when you retire, you're about to die. And some people say, when I retire, I enjoy my life, I enjoy my money. That's not true. At what age do you retire? 65?
At the time you are retiring, certain sicknesses has crept in that will not even allow you to enjoy your life. Most of the men have developed prostrate. Most of the women have gone into menopause. Sugar is a problem. Managing what you eat. So at retirement, what is left to enjoy? You just find out that you missed your life. Okay, we round off. And some of these contributions come to the point of where is the place of bedroom matters. Bedroom matters in managing family conflict. Because the man is so busy, and at the end of the day, they may not tell you what is causing the trouble, but this is also a take on that. I hope you are hearing me. Any of you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I did. The place of bedroom matters in family conflict. So I was going to respond to our sister Ngozi Kanjoko. You know, when I said there must be sacrifices, what I meant is that there are some income you have to forego for the interest of the family. And what do I mean by that? When I said my sister took night duty, her work takes her 10 to 6. And she did that because so that she can have time in the daytime and at least before night time to spend with the family. So also for we that are career women, we must also find time to give to the family, to give attention to the husband, and also to give attention to work. And it comes with a price, whether we like it or not. If you are family oriented, because the first thing is for the couple to be family oriented, then your family does not come second in the activities of your life. Your family takes precedence so that you will groom your family effectively. Good thing, this period of COVID-19 offers so many families who never stayed together for such a long time to stick together for months with the husband, the wife, and the children all sitting together in home. In families where you had conflict, is those who have never been staying together as a family. We must find time as a family in our schedule of duties and timing where we must have time to stay with the family, to spend with our husband. If it means sometimes losing some work activities, we have to do it. Also, if it means the man sometimes forgoing some business interest, he has to do it. If we don't make sacrifices in the home, we are going to have a conflict. During that lockdown, what did we do with it? Did we find time to re-evaluate the family values? Because for me, it was a time of reinculcating what I consider to be my family values and my family vision. And we had time to share our journey of life together with the family, with the entire children. So the place of the room is a place that must deliberately be created, because if we look at the activities of life, we will never get to create that time. So both couples will find out which time suits them to have time to be at home at the same time. It could be in the morning, it could be in the afternoon, it could be in the evening, it could be in the night. But there must be an agreement where the two parties have time to spend. They're not making out time at all to spend with the children and to spend with the family. There may be a time, as we said, it will be too late. As a career person, I take my leave most times during vacation period so that I will have time with the children when they were younger. So at that time, you are still monitored as they are coming back from school, spending a whole month at home. You as the mother, where are you? So I will take my leave off duty, and I will resist anytime, because by January, when I'm feeling my leave time, I'll put it when I will have the family at home, so that I don't come to that leave and be the one alone. It will be a time the whole family will have time to spend together, even if it's for 1 week, 2 weeks, and all you have. So it's a deliberate plan the couple must make to create time together, and also to create time with the children, so that the bonding does not end with just the man and the woman. The bonding will be transferred also the children in the family. And it will also be a shared love.
Good.
Then another thing I discovered over time, what families don't do. You know, when I discovered that secret, I stopped it. Making children have their own separate place. It makes them too individualistic, and they don't care for one another. As mothers, and with the support of the father, we must start when they are young, bonding them together. If they never bonded when they are young, they can bond when they are adults and are married. And you can see so many homes, brothers fighting themselves, sisters, but you see the female siblings in the same home bonding. But the men don't bond because there was no conscious effort with the father and the mother bonding these brothers together as they are growing up. When they grow up as individuals, they can stand on their own without the care and respect for one another. A child grows up not having regard for the elder brother or even the younger brother. But we must care. If one is coming back from school, let it be an excitement of everybody. Everybody should be celebrated coming home. It's part of the shared love that makes them feel like, oh, it's time to go home. Let me go home. If we are not celebrated at home, Bishop, you are the one that keeps telling us, celebrate good things. If you don't celebrate the members of the family as they come back home, they will always want to stay outside home. But if there is celebration for them, celebration in the way of everybody coming out to receive that member of the family, no matter even if it's the youngest child in the family, there will be that sense of belonging. There will be that sense of commitment. I have something to do with these people. And that child can never grow up and look away from the father and the mother, because the bonding has started. But when we bury ourselves with work 24 hours, no matter how much we desire, we must create time we'll spend with our children and begin to look at things we have to do together with those children, so that bonding will start as they are growing up. Eating together is one of it that I have found. Allow them some time to put hands in the same place and fight and reconcile. If they start it young, that there is room for offenses and room for forgiveness, where you can still have the opportunity to mediate. When they grow up, they will know, daddy does not like this, mommy does not like it. But if we don't give them that opportunity to quarrel and reconcile, then they will grow up bearing resentment for each other. And without knowing that any of the siblings may be bearing resentment, they grow up with it, only for them to grow up and begin to tell you how the father offended me, how the mother offended me. And the father will be on one side, how much I spent on the child. The mother will be on the other side, how much I committed myself for the child. They will never give the child the opportunity to, express himself and share his own values with us.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Pastor Basil, come in here. We're about taking our, yes.
Thank you very much. Well, Deaconess has been able to cover a lot of ground, so I'm not going to repeat the things she said. But I would say God help us, because we are on a very fast lane. We came to America. We learn what we want to learn, but the things that we should learn, we don't. I talked about vacation. Think about it. A white man or woman doesn't work 7 days a week. The overtime that you hear about, they don't do overtime pretty much. It is always Africans. Give me overtime, give me overtime. They're the ones that are taking this over time. The question is why? Because we have two homes. We have one here, we have one in Nigeria, for our in-laws and for ourselves, and we try to make sure that we take care of all, which is good. But the question is at whose expense? We must ask that question. And I think in reality, I hear a lot of people say, well, God sent you to America so that you can take care of us. When you die, those people will still live and they will exist.
Sure.
So you have to be very careful. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. If you ignore your family, you will live to regret it. Because at the end of it all, I'm not saying you shouldn't help. I do. In fact, I did yesterday. Probably I will still do today. And you know what I'm talking about. But don't neglect your family, because that is your family. So it's very important. Be intentional about family time. You know, we live in a time of social media. Does it surprise you that you will be on a dinner table, kids have their cell phone, they're all texting. They're texting someone. Be intentional about it. You know what I do? Drop your phones. Eat. Have conversation. Conversate among yourselves. Talk. Relate. Okay? We have parents, we have to be intentional about it. You know, they have their rooms. Don't allow them 24/10 in their rooms. Bring them together in the living room. Of course, you pray together, we know that. But outside the time of prayer, let there be a time of fellowship where interaction takes place. Family time, eating together, socializing together, discussing. Even parents discuss, ask questions, you know. And some questions we are bashful about. There are some questions that are sacred, we don't ask. Permit me to tell you that these kids know much more than you do. So there is no gray area. Just go ahead and ask questions because they know. You know, let that bondedness come to fore. You know, the Bible says whatever, Philippians 4:8, whatever is true, whatever is honest, whatever is just, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, think on these things, because in the world that we live today, brothers and sisters, there are a lot of negative things that can occupy our time. So we must be intentional about family, about love, about unity, especially when you live in a society such as ours, where children are told the moment you are 18 years, you should get out of the house, you're on your own. And some of us who are just naive will imbibe that and take that, and you'll be, and some parents will even tell their kids, you are 18, if you're not careful, I'm going to kick you out. You are speaking into their ears, they are hearing you. I have 25 years old, he's still here with me. I have 23, she's still here with me. I have 20, he's still here with me. Okay, I have my wife's niece who just graduated from college. She's here with me 22 years. We are all in this house together. And I have people who come. Okay, there will come a time naturally when these kids, you don't pray for them to be with you forever, but don't force them because of the culture of this place. So that's why I said we got to understand our culture, who we are, and be able to inculcate that into their lives. So we got to be intentional. All right. And when we do these things, it will be very helpful. Now, let me finally say about, you know, night duties and all that. Yeah. I mean, there are things that are unavoidable. I saw somebody who says, tell your sisters to stop, or your cousin to stop working night duties. There are people who will still do night duties. But for me, it's important that we are able to have a balance. Now, if you do night duties 24/7, 7 days a week, well, how do you have family time? You are the mother.
It's a no.
He said, no, Deaconess Margaret said something. Let me just reinforce what she said. She said that the woman is the manager of the house. So if you are away, okay, and keep in mind when people come from 92, what do you know what they do? They go to bed, they sleep, and they don't know what is happening at home. At night, they're not there. They come back, they go to bed because they have to sleep. So part of what happens in the home, they don't know. They have little window of time to be able to monitor activities, both of the children and of the husband. And as a wife, well, you know that husband and wife relationship takes place for the most part at night. And when you are not there and he turns around, doesn't feel you, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's not good. You know, you just have to come together and plan as a family, be intentional about it. God is going to help all of us.
All right, Sister Ngozi, on a final note, you remember the question? Where is the place of bedroom?
Yes, I do.
Yes, what is the place of, family that is unique? One thing I've learned here too today is, you see, sometimes you have boys' room. These days you build one room for each boy, but sometimes you may need to put some of them together in one room so that they begin to bond. They can fight, they can do, the girls need to stay, let's say, in one room, manage one another. It also helps them when they go to school and they find themselves in boarding facilities. They know how to relate with others. But these days, when you watch them in those one rooms, they don't even come out. They're cell phone, computer, game. They don't human beings. In fact, the presence irritates them. So it's a take home for me today. Sister Ngozi.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm so overjoyed that I'm here with Pastor Basil Osuji. Yes, I am unmuted. I'm not unmuted. I'm so happy to be here with Pastor Basil Osuji, Deaconess Margaret, and you, Bishop Erubaka, because you guys are all in the Christian realm and you're high up there. Please, let's all start with marriage counseling. Get down all these case scenarios, share them with the men and the women coming to get married. Meet with them separately, maybe 10 times before you meet with them together. Because when you meet with them together, you are now doing agreement prayer. Because they have now individually gotten the information about what they are going to expect. Don't sweet talk marriage for them. There is no sweet talk in marriage. Now, bedroom activity. These women, the best I know from my almost 300 and over women, that they lack support, not the physical support. I'm talking about being close to their husband. Most of these women get to sleep with their husbands maybe once a week, have to have contact once a week because they are working. These husband and wife need to agree from the counseling period to keep maybe Saturday as their day to clean their house and be together and go see a movie together, do things. Sunday, they go to church together. There is nothing as perfect as going to church together. Same church. It's not that you have to go in the morning so your husband can go in the evening because you're working. Same church, you go in the afternoon, on your way home, you go to a restaurant or you come home, you cook, you guys take a nap together. Plan for the family for the week. There is no extra money that you make that is worth family time, that is worth time away from your family. The most important thing I need to add before I hang up, here in America, no matter what you make over time, you pay it out back to Uncle Sam. And here I end. So the money we are chasing is not really there at the end of the day.
Uncle Sam is
Exactly.
the tax, right? The tax.
The tax.
Yes. Yes.
That's what you mean.
And the more overtime you do, the more tax you pay.
You pay so much.
Okay. All right. It's been a wonderful time. To all the people watching us, a whole lot have been enjoyed, a whole lot have been learned. We make sacrifices to keep our family. We stay with our family. No matter who is down, who is low, is a part of our family. The strength of every chain is as strong as the weakest link. So that's why we have family meetings. When you find a weak link, come together to fix it. And the rest we leave to God. I want to appreciate all of you that have made time to come. Pastor Basil Osuji. A lot of your members have been watching too. So we appreciate you so much, so much. When next I come to the US, Brentwood's Foursquare, I'll be there live. Sister Ngozi, we appreciate you coming in all the way from Dallas to be part of this. Our deaconess Margaret, she's a marriage counselor, and we have seen that she's both practical, even in her home, and my very self. So by God's grace, I just celebrated my 30th marriage anniversary.
Wow.
So God has been faithful. Married to the same woman, and our marriage has not gone stale. So we thank God, and I say to all of you, may God bless you, keep you, and be open to our invitation next time we invite you. For everybody watching, we are transmitting this on Humphrey Erumaka Live. You can also go and watch this at your own time on YouTube. And in case you want to support the program from any part of the world, you can use Zelle, you can use PayPal, and we'll be happy to receive your partnership. God bless you, and bless you really good. Thank you.